All right, I'm not going to make you all wait any longer. You all waited for the show. The call log is full. We were ready to lunch. Let me talk about the black life that matters. I know many of us, we want to get on the front line, and we want a lot of crackers or white people to care about us and have sympathy for us and to join us while we protest against the injustice that's affecting us in America today. We want to get on the front line and protest, and somehow we want to coerce social change through marching, protesting, rallying, civil disobedience, just rebelling, disorder, whatever. We want to influence the system to change by filling our wrath, our rage, and our anger as a people in conjunction and in assembly with other people. That's what the Black Lives Matter movement is doing. That's what I see going on with it. It has been ineffective in many ways because with all the rallying and marching along with the Occupy and Anonymous movement, we see the devils are still getting out. We see that it's not stopping, but it's increasing. The murder and death of black people in America has increased with the Anonymous, the Occupy, the Black Lives Matter movement. It has increased. So it's not working. It's a great movement. And I encourage people to mobilize and get on the front lines because, to me, compassion is the beginning. Because awareness starts with compassion. When you begin to care, that's when you have become aware. If you do not care, you are not aware. What happens when you care, when you are aware, is that you will care. When you're aware of pain in your arm, you care about your arm. When you are aware of pain in your stomach, you are aware of your internal organs. When you have pain in your head, you become aware. When you become aware of a pain in your head, then you care about your head. So awareness will be shown by caring. So caring is the first step. Listen to me. A lot of people are very politically educated, aware of what's going on in society, so-called conscious, but they don't really care. They are just informed. Because when you really start to care, that's when you have become truly aware at a significant and real level. So I think the movements and the mobilizations that are happening, the benefit to them is that we are at least starting to care. We're seeing the onslaught of negativity that's happening to our people, the brutality that's happening to us in our community, and we're just starting to care. And we're acting out of our compassion. And we see the severity of the situation. That's consciousness, that's awareness. But it has to go deeper from just caring. And something efficient has to happen. And what I'm going to talk about tonight is what that must happen in the individual that is efficient. We talk about organizing, coming together as a collective. We talk about unity. But tonight I want to touch on the transformation that must happen in the individual that is efficient and sufficient for social change as it relates to the condition of black people. And that will lead you into the black life that matters. All black life does not matter in America. Y'all rest on that for a minute. Breathe on that. All black life does not matter in America. That's going to hurt some people. I want to give y'all a minute to just feel that. Because the whole movement is about black lives mattering. And that sounds good, and that's idealistic, and that's a beautiful utopia. But I'm here to tell you that that is not a reality. All life don't matter. All life should matter. We would like it if all life mattered. We would love it. And many of us would do anything to increase how much black lives matter. But at the very end of the day, the hardcore truth is that all life don't matter. all black life don't matter in America. That's a harsh reality that we have to accept. But once you can accept that, that's the beginning of your enlightenment, because you got to deal with the radical truth. You got to deal with the hardcore reality if you want to bring about change. You can't create change living in a fantasy, because you can't change a fantasy world, because any change that happens in a fantasy is no change at all. So you're going to have to get down to the hardcore facts, to the point that all black life don't matter. And that's going to take you into my subject matter, what I'm going to talk about tonight. I want to tell you about the type of black life that matters. The black life that matters. The black life that matters is the black life that realizes that we are at war every single moment and second that we live in the wilderness of North America as black people. We've been at war, we are at war, and we will continue to be at war as long as the forces of white supremacy, imperialism, and colonialism, and capitalism are thriving in this country. Until that ends, we will continue to be at war. And even as it ends, we will be at war to keep the fire out. So we're in a long war as a people. So the type of black life that matters, the black life that matters, is the black life that realizes that, number one, we are at war, period. Not when you look in your news feed and see somebody else died in jail, somebody got hung, somebody's getting shot, police brutality, somebody's been robbed of their rights, treated inappropriately by those who's supposed to be serving and protecting them. It doesn't matter doing Confederate rallies or marches by a white supremacist group. It doesn't matter just when black on black crime is happening and we getting shot down in the street and we hear about how bad it is in certain parts of Chirac. Black lives, the black life that matters, is the black life that realizes that if you're black in America, you are at war, period. This is a reality. That you realize that, your life at that point begins to matter, because it matters to you. Not what you can get capitalistic, not if you keep your job, not if you graduate, not if you get your education, not how rich you get, how much money you get, how much you can consume, what type of car you drive, how many houses you own, how much property you own, what type of vacations you can get, where you can travel to Egypt, Africa, Sudan, the Bahamas, the Caribbean islands. It does not matter more than your realization of the fact that we are at war. This is the type of black life that matters, that realizes that we, as a people, are at war in America. That's the type of black life that matters. Second, the type of black life that realizes the darker you are, the more you are at war in America. Listen to me. The darker that you are in America, the more you are at war. That type of black lives matter because it matters to itself, and it realizes that you are at war because of the melanin tone and shade of your skin. You are at war in this society 24 hours a day. It doesn't mean that the lighter among us are not at war. All blacks are at war in degrees, and certain other ethnicities are at war in degrees. But the darker you are, the hotter your situation is in America. This is a reality. And your life begins to matter as a melanated person when you realize that. That's the type of black lives that matter. The type of black life that matters are those that are willing to live their day when they get up in the morning with the objective to be victorious in the war that we are against, and to make every move and situation and circumstance calculated and strategical and tactical to win the war that we are in America, against our open enemy, the devil, the cracker, the white man, and all coons and Negroes and buffoons that's under his command, authority, and disillusionment included. That's the type of black life that matters. Every moment of their day is spent premeditated on victory in the battlefield. As soon as we step out of our door, and for some don't even get a chance to step out of our door, realize that we're at war, and we make calculated decisions. We never get too comfortable. See, comfortable life in America, comfortable black life in America don't matter. Passive black life in America doesn't matter. Unconcerned black life, sleep black life, unawakened black life, unconcerned black life, thinking we are accepted black life, get in the fit in black life, doesn't matter. That's a reality. Coon black life don't matter because they're in a rude awakening to realize that it doesn't, no matter how much you coon and buffoon for the devil, when your time comes to be in the statistical probabilities of white supremacy, it doesn't matter how much you cooned and how much you buffoon. You'll be treated just like the rest of the black people in America. The type of black life that matters, the black life that matters, is those that realize that we are at war. They realize that if you're black, you have no rights in America. Listen, I'm going to let y'all meditate on that because that's a hard one for most people in 2015. If you black, you don't have any rights in America. I don't care if you got your Moorish nationality, UCC, what paperwork you filed, what documentation you have filed. It doesn't matter how much Constitution you know and the amendments, how many law books or legal books that you have read. You have no rights in America. And that when you're confronted by the beast, the only right you have is to submit or kill or be killed. Those are your only three options. See, I'm telling you the type of black life that matters. You only got three options when you're confronting the forces of white supremacy, the police department, the government, its officials, and representatives of such. You only got three options: submit, kill, or be killed. And sometimes you don't even have the option to submit. It's either kill or be killed. That's the reality. No, you can't spew out your rights and I have a right to do this and you have a right. The reality is you have nothing holding those rights in place. There's nothing defending those rights or securing those rights in America because the one who's stripping you of your rights is the one who's supposed to defend you of your rights. Makes no goddamn sense. Illogical. You have no rights in America. The only right you have is the one you're willing to defend with your very own life. So when the police pull you over, don't stop and say, "Yo, officer, I have these rights and this, that, and the other." You got three options during a police stop: submit, kill, or be killed. Don't say I didn't tell you. The one whose black life, the black life that matters, are the ones that simply realize that. And they make their choices, and they deal with the consequences, the responsibility, and the reality of the choices of which they make of the three. That's the hardcore reality that you're up against. You don't have any rights in America. That's getting a lot of people killed. You are not being treated fairly in America. You're simply under white supremacy. That's a fact. In a situation, a system that was never created in order for you to be treated fairly cannot treat you unfair. There is no fair torture. There is no fair abuse. There's no fair dehumanization. There's no fair domination by people of another race and nationality. There's no way you can be a fair. Slavery is not fair. Second-class citizens is not fair. There's nothing fair about your situation or supposed to be based on how the system was set up. If it was fair, you would already be a sovereign in America and have your own government, country, and land and be self-governed and self-determined. They go all the way to Iraq and they overthrow Gaddafi and they say, you know what, the Libyans have a right to determine on their own destiny and have a democracy. The Cubans have a right to fly their own flag and self-determination and have a democracy. But the same cracker would look at the Negro in America and say, we don't have no option but to be under the laws of the majority of white devils that are in power and ruling in America. Do you hear me? That makes no sense. The Iraqi can have his own government. Every other nationality and ethnicity can have their own government, country, and land in the world. But Negroes in America are supposed to be free, and they have no option but to be under the government of white supremacy. And if we begin to even talk about it, if we begin to talk about having our own government and govern ourselves and setting up our own order and structure, immediately we're terrorists. It's sedition. It's treason. We're trying to overthrow the government. It's racism. Huh? Immediately when we even begin the conversation. But they tell us that we're free, but we're only free to follow his laws. We're only free to have an education that teaches us how to do nothing but continue to abide by his laws, his rules, his regulations, and his way of life. And if we don't, we will either kill or be killed. And for some, there's an option. It's kill and be killed. Let me add that one in there. I guess it's 4. Submit, kill or be killed, or kill and be killed. Or goddamn it, there's a 5th one. Just kill and keep it moving. That one needs to be taken into consideration as well. But these are your options. This is really what it is. And that's black life that matters. Because if your life don't matter to your own self, how can it matter to somebody more than you? How can your life matter to somebody else more than it matters to yourself? That's a contradiction. The cop, the officer, he believes his life matters. So when he feels intimidated, he shoots your ass on the spot. Why did he do that? Because his life mattered so much that yours didn't. You say your life mattered, but you're disarmed. You don't have no guns, you don't have no weapons, and you're not willing to kill for how much your life matters and how much the life of your race matters. You're not willing to fight back. So why should anybody even believe that your life matters to you? Because your life is not even in your own hands. Versus dying for the liberation of your people or standing up for the liberation of your people. You'd rather be a slave incarcerated for the rest of your life in jail over some bullshit-ass charges. Do you hear me? Your life was you didn't possess your own life to be the ruler of your own destiny and determine the meaning and the value and the significance of your own life at any given moment in time. Your life belongs to him. That's why you continuously trying to convince him of the value of it. When you going to convince yourself of the value of your own life? And when you're able to do that, that's the type of black life that will matter. That's like playing a video game where you die for real. And you're in a video game talking about Black Life Matters. But if your life really mattered to you, you wouldn't even play the video game to begin with. Because you can't be in the video game talking about my life matters. And that's what it's like being in white supremacy. We're in his world trying to make our life matter in his world. We're trying to make our life matter in hell. But when our life really matters, we will ice out hell. We'll freeze hell. This is a reality. Our life won't matter in hell. We'll freeze hell and put an end to hell, put an end to the white supremacy, the white man, and the goddamn devil. This is a reality. When Black Lives Matter, there will be innumerable citizens arrests in America of police officers who arrest them on the motherfucking spot. I've had visualizations of cops just being under citizens arrest, just locking their ass up. I've already had this in the vision, that when they show that they're corrupt and don't give a goddamn, then why do you give a goddamn? Why do you? Because you can go back, what you got coming. See, once we start standing up, then black life will matter. It'll have value. No life that you ain't willing to kill for has no value. And too many of us have died and been murdered and not enough of them has been put in body bags for them to get the point, for them to do the math on the value of black life. And this is a reality. So as long as we do not step up in that way of realizing that every day and quit shucking and jiving, quit trying to get the luxuries and trinkets and the beauty of the white man's world, knowing that you're in for a very harsh ending, fooling yourself, thinking you an American and you free and you got rights and liberties and you just in your consumeristic paradigm, not realizing you being hunted down and that it's killing season on your ass. So every day you should wake up and live with that reality. Don't wait till you get stopped by the police to start talking about how much rights you got. A person who acknowledges that they have rights, that they're worth defending for real, they're already prepared to defend those rights before they're even contested, before the confrontation even begins. Are you prepared to defend yourself before confrontation even ensues? Or are you just going to pray to sweet Jesus that it's not your time at that moment when you must confront your enemy? This is a reality. When the black life that matters is a black life that acknowledges the power of their leadership, of their revolutionaries within that community, of those that's willing to build and establish their own. That's about black self-defense, black self-determination. Those that honor that leadership. Not just listen to the white man all goddamn day and try to grow and elevate and grow in an illusion that you're waiting on your lottery number of the day when you will be dehumanized before the world. And we've become so arrogant and egotistical that we think, oh, I got it under control. Ain't nothing going to happen to me. I got this under control. I got this. I'm going to work and I'm going to be a good person and be an upstanding person in society. And I'm going to go to the club and have a good time and just party. And, I ain't got to worry about nothing. That type of black life don't matter. If you go in the forest and you go out there in the jungle and you say, well, I'm just going to party, and you're not aware of the situation that you're in, at that moment, that black life don't matter, because it's everything in that jungle that's ready to take your ass out. It's snakes, all type of poisonous this, poisonous that. And you think you're going to party and you're not going to have to move with the type of discernment, the type of awareness, the type of consciousness in order to ensure your very own survival? He who refuses to realize that ends up a beggar of their own life and of their own freedom. This is a reality. Let's talk about the black life that matters. The black life that's going directly to Planned Parenthood don't matter. It couldn't have mattered because it went directly to Planned Parenthood. The type of matter that's black life that's just eating whatever the hell they want, knowing and watching generations of them dying from this processed food and all these unnatural, artificial ingredients. They don't read the labels. That type of black life don't matter. The type of black life that don't matter, that don't forgive their own people and their own race, that's all for self and materialistic growth and personal aggrandizement to see how much they can make it in this illusion, this American nightmare for black people, to see how far they can go. Living in a dog-eat-dog context of reality where either they're going to end up dying by the hands of their brother or murdering their own brother for their own personal growth and development and aggrandizement in the American nightmare. That type of black life don't matter. The type of black life that glorifies violence, gangsterism, murder, brutality, lack of compassion, selfishness within our own community, among ourselves. That type of black life don't matter. You ain't got to go and march for that and rally for that. It just simply don't matter. You'll see. The type of black life that matters has compassion for their own people, but just not willing to cry and boo-hoo and have sorrow, but the type of compassion that's practical, that's strategical, that's loyal, that's courageous. That type of black life matters and will ensure that other black lives matter because it's selfless and brave and sees the bigger picture and puts the goal and the achievements and the survival of the race beyond their own selfish goals. See the bigger picture. That type of Black life matters, and it will ensure that other Black lives matter. This is a reality. We got to deal with the type of Black life that matters. You don't realize that we at war. You don't realize that we in battle right now. Your life don't matter. Not because it matters to me, because you will continue to make decisions and continue to serve your enemy when your enemy has no service for you. You continue to assimilate and bow down to this devil and his reality and co-sign his world and you know, think he's just it's just a few bad crackers. They're just making a few simple mistakes, and a part of it is good. Some of us are living good. We got money. You know, we're middle class and upper class. Some of us are all right. That type of Black life doesn't matter. When you get pulled over, it doesn't matter whether you upper class or middle class or lower class. It doesn't matter what class you are. It don't matter what type of cash you got. That type of Black life don't matter. Not because it doesn't care about other people and it's selfish, but because you don't care about your own self to not realize the battlefield that we in today. How could your life matter if you don't even care about it yourself? The type of Black life matters. Call people like me just talking that black stuff. You just blackety black. You just talking that revolutionary stuff from the 70s. You just talking that black stuff. You know, you just talking that, you just a militant. You just an angry Black man. You just hate white people. That type of Black life that see me as that don't matter. Because they're not smart enough to realize that I'm the way I am because I am realistically confronting the situation that we are literally up against as a people today. That's it. No more, no less. That my attitude is one of survival. That's it. So people that see me like that when their cousin, nephew, auntie is getting shot down and getting stuffed into the prison industrial complex, their family is getting murdered and shot down at the hands of loveless Black people and getting killed by police brutality, and they look at me talking about, why are you talking that black stuff? Not realizing they next in line. But they Black life don't matter. Not because it matters to me, but because it don't matter to them. And those who it really matter to are considered to be racist and talking that pro-Black stuff and that anti-white stuff, and we should all get along and love each other, but while we doing the loving, they doing the busing. They doing the captain. They doing the shooting. And all we can do in response is looting. That's the reality. Black life stuff, being on that black stuff means that, you know what, to you, damn, Black life matters. What else being Black could you be on other than black stuff? And you can't address the problem without addressing the reality. They're not shooting you down because you're a Moor. In your own perceptual framework, in the context of your own reality, if you see, as you see your ancestors and nationalities, culture, heritage, indigenous right, you're more. But in their eyes, you ain't nothing but a Black man, depending on the content of melanin in your skin. They're not judging you by the content of your character. They're judging you by how much melanin you got. And people who don't realize that they're not judging you by the content of your character, but by the content of your melanin. People who don't realize that, their Black lives don't matter. And people who do, their Black lives matter. Because being Black matters and has value to them. They realize the quality and content of their melanin and how relevant it is in this society, in this reality. Contrary to Dr. Martin Luther King, they're not judging you by the content of your character. They could care less. They've already prejudged you. That's what discrimination is about. They already then bagged you and boxed you up, labeled you, stigmatized you, profiled you before you even open your mouth. Your character is irrelevant. They're judging you on the content of your melanin. Look at all the people that get shot. Melanin, 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 melanin. More melanated people are in the Black lives that matter, to the point where we should say the more melanin you got, the more your life matters. Huh? The more melanin you got, the more your life should matter. I'm teaching today. The type of Black life that matters is the type of Black life that realizes this. that realize that, no, some black people are not victims of police brutality and treated unfair. And that some of us are objective, and it's our job to care about these people that are getting harmed. We need to do something, not realizing that we are the ones that something is being done to as well. Sandra Bland thought she was standing up for black people. She didn't realize really how much she was really standing up for herself. And only looking in hindsight, looking at the videos that she did, that we realized that she was really talking about her self-fulfilled prophecy of what was happening and occurring in her life that was going to end up happening to her. When it really looked like she was just talking about what was happening to other black people, she didn't realize how at home that this type of brutality and evilness was viciously coming to visit her. We think we talk about the condition of black people objectively. Somehow Negroes believe they're objective to the condition of black people because they stand on the front line with white people. They begin to identify with the white people and think they're objectively talking about the condition of black people, not realizing that they're being targeted right there immediately in a whole different way. See, that's the problem with black people in America. They have the option of whether they want to identify with being white or being black, no matter how much melanin they got. It's something inside of them called a European that maybe and somehow I can have an option to see, if I want to feel or be or identify with Europeans more than I want to identify with the reality of my situation, which is a propensity towards brutal death at the hands of the white supremacist reality. The type of black life that matters is the type of black life that's trying to get out of the matrix and become self-sufficient and build our own. Trying to get away from white supremacy. Trying to get away from the problem. To build up the strength to deal with and confront the problem. You can't have the Ebola and cure Ebola and be in the situation of Ebola. You got to quarantine yourself, get out of the Ebola, cure yourself of the Ebola, and then you can go back and help others. Some of these white supremacist societies with white supremacist cops and all that, we must get up out of those jurisdictions and precincts and out of those areas. No matter how much property we think we own and how much rights we think we got, and I grew up here and all this, shit is changing. Gentrification is a reality. Those who realize the reality of gentrification realize how much black lives matter. Because gentrification means genocide. It's the same thing. If you don't leave, we'll kill your ass to get you up out this neighborhood so we can take it over. Gentrification and genocide is the same thing. Two different ways of saying the same thing. So the type of black lives that matter is willing to get out of some of these areas to save your own goddamn black life that matters. Before Harriet Tubman could free other black people, she at least had to leave and go taste freedom for herself to experience the reality of freedom, and then she can go back and get others because she knew where to take them to. She didn't stay in that situation and say, oh, I'm going to fight and destroy the majority of white people in this particular area in order to free 3 black people. I'm going to get them out of this white supremacist situation and move into a circumstance where we can begin to forge power together as a people. So we need to move towards creating our own self-sufficient, independent black communities. There are black towns already going. We need to start taking those black towns over and making the black blacker. Don't try to make the white blacker. Make the black blacker and blacker. So we need to go to these areas that are predominantly black, where black people have a desire for transformation, have a desire to live in a different type of community and society as a whole. And we need to forge together as people of the same mind, first and foremost. That's the type of black life that matters. It's like the white man. He's trying to change Iraq. He's trying to create democracy in the East. But he's not going to really live over there. His life over there is nothing but military occupation. He knows where he lives at in America, where they dominate and rule and control, right? So some communities and some places in America are so goddamn racist that we really can only occupy them by 24-hour military occupation. We cannot really live in them without being completely oblivious and direct soft targets to the white supremacy that's around them. So the reality is some of these racist-ass neighborhoods and towns and communities, it's time for us to go. But we so materialistic, we don't want to leave. Because they have a better Whole Foods there and a better Publix in that area and a better this and a better that, and it's more businesses. We don't want to leave. Our life, black life, don't matter enough to get away from these goddamn crackers that's so goddamn diabolical. So I'm saying we need to vote them out politically, and we know how to vote and get somebody else in office, but when you see you ain't get that person in office, get the fuck out of there. You got to get out of places where black lives don't matter to black people. One of the solutions to end black-on-black crime is stop being a victim of it. Get the fuck away from it. This is a reality. In zombie movies, when you're in a zombie movie and you see people killing each other like zombies, you're not trying to save zombies. You're trying to get the hell away from zombies because your life matters. Blacks killing blacks is not the reality of America. It's only certain parts of America, certain communities. Blacks are not trying to kill blacks every single where. That's just not a reality. If you believe that, you need to start traveling for real and find some areas where people have a different mentality. Some people trying to make their straight hood go back to the 50s, where I can send my children out and they can play and they didn't have to worry about nothing and blah, blah, blah. Those type of communities still exist today, contrary to popular belief, to non-for-profit charlatan and black, preachers and teachers that only focus on the negatives in the black community. So they got to give you this diabolical picture of the entire black race, not realizing that they're enclaves of a different consciousnesses in different places, and that it's your responsibility with your black life mattering to seek that shit out. You don't have to live among the beasts, be it black or white today. There are options, and we can travel and move around and add strength to power where people are working day and night to make changes, where people believe in the type of change that you want to create, and they're living day to day to produce that. Their lives are devoted to that. You can go and live among them. You don't have to stay in the most hellish white supremacy overran situation for whatever material value that you got. It will make more sense to live in a black loving poor situation than a black hating rich situation. But some of us would rather play the casino, be in a casino situation, where put our life on the boat, on the lottery for the material that we can gain versus giving up the material reality for a piece of goddamn mind. And to get into a strategic position where we can be a benefit to other black people without having to watch our own back every goddamn 5 seconds. But people want the adventurous life. They don't want to give that up. It's a choice. Stop seeing value in flirting with death. Are you with embracing a new black life? That type of black life matters. Get out of those communities and get where we can build strength among those of like minds and create our own destiny and shape out our own reality. That's the type of black life that matters. There are blacks in power in America today. Don't you believe it? You just got to find them. We still live in, they said we had our own independent communities before slavery and all that, and before integration. That's still going on today. Some communities have not integrated and are damn near integrated. There's still black towns. There's still places where black people rule, are in control of their community, and are setting it up to be how they want it to be based upon the way they see fit. Find them. Start investing in the community that's going to invest in you. Stop paying taxes in these communities where they don't give a goddamn about you. Leave it. And leave every Negro that love it. And don't do like Lot's wife and look back and turn into a pillar of stone. Now notice, I didn't tell you to go and live among white people in a safe and nice environment and go to the suburbs and leave your community. I never said that, and I never will. I'm not saying live among whites at all. I'm saying find black people, no matter what the economic class system is, that have the values, beliefs, and principles you have in controlling, maintaining, and protecting their own community and society. We talk about black unity, but black unity is more practical than trying to find somebody who ideologically agree with you but live across the town in a whole nother situation. But they say, oh, we're Hebrews together, or we're Muslims together, but you live in two totally different situations. Black unity will ultimately mean black solidarity and black community, where we now establish communities that are reflective and representative of who we are, that we rule and control. That's black rulership. You got places in Atlanta, and I got to go in on you today. I got to talk about it because I'm down here in Atlanta, so I got to talk about Atlanta. You got communities in Atlanta that's supposed to be conscious. You go there, it's a conscious bookstore and a conscious this and a conscious that. And it's just everything conscious you want, the health food, the books, the clothes, everything. But they're under a goddamn police state. How the hell are you going to have a goddamn black conscious community under a police state? What the hell are you conscious of? How to buy some more shea butter and beads and oils and incense, and how to have a pontificate on a street corner? Some philosophical rhetoric? How to debate and argue and throw events and play the drum? What are you conscious of? You talk about how powerful and great our ancestors are and how much power we had and how we ruled. But you under tyranny in a so-called conscious community. One of the most overly policed communities in Atlanta is the conscious community. You can go right, you can go to the hood, and it's a more liberal situation for conscious people than the damn conscious community. Because to them, conscious community really is a consumer community. They're not trying to rule or regulate or govern anything. They're just trying to get their kale sandwich, you follow, and go on back in the house. They want everything done for them. It's a consumeristic paradigm. The so-called conscious consumer community is a luxury community. They just want the higher class products. You know, they want the best products, that's all. So I couldn't believe it. The conscious community under tyranny, that all these people with all these great names and you know, knowing they God and they divine and they this and they that and know their chakras and all the meiotic laws and all this type of stuff under tyranny right here in Atlanta. Unbelievable. More white police in the so-called conscious community than it is in Los Angeles. Can't believe it. And they walk around like it, you know, it's nothing. All we have become conscious of is how to have escapism from our situation that we really in. We conscious of how to escape. If it ain't drugs, if it ain't just consumerism, it's being super deep. But we didn't shut our minds off the reality of the situation that we are in. Because we don't want to deal with it. We want to get so damn spiritual and so goddamn deep that we cannot even affect the situation that is among us. And if you can't affect the situation among you, then find a situation to your effect. It's a reality. You don't stay in a situation that you cannot affect. I'm not telling you to go and be a political prisoner overnight and, you know, take down 50 armed white police officers by yourself in the local precinct. I'm saying if you find a situation that's so difficult to affect, then it's time for you to leave that situation, because there's no excuse for so many black people to be living in one situation and not come together and overthrow their oppressor. That means those black people that you're around don't want it. And if they don't want it, it's time to move forward and find those that do. And I'm not comfortable nowhere I'm at. I'm always open to where black people really ready, really tired of this imperialism and the system of white supremacy. I'm always open to where they at, where they building at. This is not a one-man fight. This is a community battle. White supremacy is not one man against us. It's many men that are against us. So we must come together as many men against it. And those who realize that, they Black Life Matters. It's not a one-man show. It's not how conscious one individual is. It's how individuals can come together and forge their strength based on the protection of their communities and the values that they have. Nowadays, we have no value. We come together on how much money that we can make, how much money we can get. We have no values. We're not coming together to even confront our real enemy and the real issues that we are dealing with. Let me talk about 125th Street. Natural Tahuti. Good brother. I love Natural Tahuti. But he out there talking about the black woman is God and men can breastfeed. On 125th Street. What he should have been talking about is how they are ready to lock the black man ass down. We need to confront every time we open our mouths, we need to confront what we're up against. We don't have the liberty to talk about UFOs and different galaxies and cosmos and the melanin within the melanin within the melanin. Just protect the melanin. Let's start with that. We don't have the liberty of this. When you're at war, you have to confront the warfare situation. Your conversation must reflect the reality of that you are at war. So how did his conversation of the black woman being God and men being able to breastfeed affect how his situation ended up? He ended up incarcerated and accused of distributing drugs to somebody that ended up killing them. We have no proof. We have no way of investigating. We have no power to see what really happened in that situation. And when he should have been preparing to confront the war that was coming to him, he's sidetracking with intellectual masturbation and pontification. How many of us are doing that right now? I had to speak on that. How many of us are doing that right now? Versus dealing with the battle that we will soon confront, being black men in America. How many of us are not realistically dealing with the issue? Not willing to unify with men and strengthen ourselves in a way that's going to make us more effective to deal with the situation that we're up against. Death is around the corner. Incarceration is in the up the block. This is a reality. How is our conversation addressing that reality continuously to alleviate the situation and put us in a strategical position to transcend these types of situations? That's where our conversation should be at, but it's not. We're talking about the evolution of conference, the evolution of man. How do we evolve from being a nation of male prisoners? How do we evolve from that? How do we evolve out the situation, the powerless situation that we're in right now? Let's talk about that type of evolution. Not the evolution of white supremacy, which is Darwinism, to accept evolution. The whole idea of evolution is white supremacy. To even deal with evolution, you have to be dealing with white supremacy. Because if the white man was not first, if we were the original man and the white man came after us, then he would have to be an evolution of us. And if he's not an evolution of us, then he's a de-evolution of us. And if evolution de-evolves, then it contradicts evolution in and of itself. Because that means it's not definitively evolving. It's going back and forth. It's looping. It's not doing anything that can be purely identified. It's an algorithm with no rhythm. It cannot be calculated because it could evolve or de-evolve and dip at any point. And since it has done it over so many billions and millions of years, that no calculator is qualified enough to pick up the type of pattern to come up with the ultimate idea of evolution. But to accept the idea of Darwinism, at the same time holding our mind that we are the original man, is a contradiction, because either we evolve from them. If we evolve from them, then he's the original man. He started off a monkey and he kept going and going and going and going, and now he went from a monkey to a black man. So he was first. And if he was first, the monkey that evolved, then what? into a black man, and he would have to be first. He would have to be the original man. So the idea of evolution is white supremacy, because for one, it puts everything together. To say one thing evolved is to put everything in the same box. That means we're all the same. We're the same thing evolving. I'm not the same thing as the white man. I'm in no category or in no unit or group or mixture with the white man. So you can say he evolved, but that which has been here forever, that which is 76 trillion years old, that which has no birth record and no history, could not have evolved. Infinity cannot evolve. So the idea of evolution is white supremacy. That's why you got to keep chanting out the white supremacists' names, Darwin, and chanting out these crackers and chanting their names and ideologies and the dead thoughts of Europeans. The dead thoughts of crackers, edifying them and their ideologies and their understandings and calling what they're doing science. Science would have to be logical. And logic would be for the benefit of the planet, since we all live on it and we all must breathe and survive, and we have our life in the planet, our survival. The quality of our life depends on the quality of the planet. And the white man has done nothing but destroy the planet since he has been here. So how could he be any type of a scientist? Because his ultimate scientific conclusion should be in the preservation of the earth. But all his scientific conclusions justify the destruction of the planet and the original people on it. So there's no type of science that should ever be identified or associated with the white man. He is not a scientist of any kind, because his ultimate conclusion would have to be in error to end up in destruction of the planet Earth. So to look at them as scientists and look at who they are and what they're doing as any type of science is white supremacy. And the type of black life that matters will realize that. If you still calling any white man a scientist of any type, your black life don't matter. Scientists have to support the process of life with their understanding. To destroy would be unscientific. Suicide, unscientific. The type of black life that matters would focus on the real conditions that we face as a people today and use their mind and their energy to deal with that problem. And if they're not doing that, they are capitalizing off a situation that continues to contribute to the problem. If I'm getting rich enough and I'm making money and I'm living in enough luxury temporarily, even though my days are numbered, because no matter how much money you got, your days are numbered, you still fall within the statistical probabilities of the melanated people in America. No matter how much money you got. But just the fool, you know, he got some money and he thinks his situation is different from others, not realizing that his lawyer just costs a little bit more than the poor man that ain't going to do nothing for him anyway. That he might get a little bit more commissary that still can't buy him nothing but a few more Twinkies and a few more boxes of cigarettes. His situation really ain't different from nobody else. But he believes in his own mind because of the amount of money or his pursuit of money and economic interest that somehow his life is more valuable than others, which is just not a reality. But that, because of that reason, he doesn't really want to address the real situation that is affecting black people as a whole because he feels like it's not affecting him. So he's capitalizing off a very exploitive and vampiric situation that is confronting black people as a whole. He's making money off of that situation, telling you that, oh, I really want to come up with a solution, and not realizing he's avoiding the real problem altogether. A lot of that's going on right now in the conscious community. They are living too good in a situation where too many of us are living too bad. Some people say, you know, economics would be the solution. If you had money, that would be your problem. Our problem is economics. But every teacher they had was rich. Listen, do your research. Ain't not one broke master teacher out here, man. Every one of their teachers was rich. Dr. Malachi York, rich. Yahweh Ben Yahweh, rich. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad, rich. Even Huey P. Newton, rich. Khalid Muhammad, rich. Every one of their teachers had money. All of them were rich. Maybe Malcolm wasn't rich, but he had access to the wealth. Because don't no man travel all through Africa and through Ghana and meet down with this king and that king. And, you know, some of us can barely afford a pack of incense. You follow? Some of us got to scrape up some quarters to get a pack of incense. Go half on a tub of shea butter. And here Malcolm was able to travel all over Africa. And some places even in Europe that we never even heard of. So even if he may not have the money directly, he had access to the money. And Garvey has control over so much money to create the Black Star Line, and, you know, he was rich. So none of our leaders were poor. And their money did not save them. So how is economics emphatically the solution? None of their money saved them. Elijah Muhammad's money almost became the downfall of the nation itself. Because when he died, the whole nation split up over economics. Who get this? Who get the house? Who get the car? Where does money go? Who got the trust? Who got the treasury? Even some people in the more science temple of America are still talking about the trust of Prophet Noble Jew Ali, and they're arguing over the trust and who controls the trust and is there a trust. Money has become the downfall of many of these organizations, jealousy over money. So money has not saved us, and people keep talking about Black Wall Street. We see what happened to Black Wall Street. It got burned to the ground. They burned Black Wall Street like they did Move. Move was broke, got burned down. Black Wall Street got money, got burned down. And the hideous fact about Black Wall Street, that Black Wall Street wasn't as black as they try to make it out to be. Take your time. It's going to hurt some people. Google Black Wall Street in the pictures and see the bankers and the people, the politicians of Black Wall Street. You're going to see some crackers sitting up in there. There were crackers on the fundamental basis at the bottom, at the builders of Black Wall Street. At the core, there was crackers that played a very significant role in Black Wall Street. Take your time and digest that. Wherever you got money, the crackers around. And they burned down Black Wall Street because Black Wall Street started to take the money that they had that they put into white investments, white banks and mortgages, and take it away from them, and the crackers got mad. So they said, you got people like Farrakhan that recently talk about we need to hurt the man economically, to hurt the white man economically, take our money back, and start, hurt him in his pockets, stop spending money with him, and this type of thing. You think when you take your money away from this white man that he not coming for your ass? I mean, let's be honest, man. Just try to take your money from the weed man in your neighborhood. Just stop smoking weed and see what happens. See how furious the weed man gets. Just how about the coke man or the crack man? Just say, you know what? He knock on your door, come by. He hit your phone. What's up, man? I got that. Say, I don't even use no more. Look how angry he gonna get if you was a serious buyer and a serious consumer. He was paying his bills off of your habit and your addiction. The white man is paying his bills. He's built America off your habits and addictions in America. And when you stop spending, supporting your habits and addictions in America that support him, and stop supporting him, supporting his habits and addictions on an international level, what's going to happen? You think he's just going to sit by and say, oh, I guess they ain't going to spend no money with us no more. Guess they doing their own thing. He going to come and say, if you ain't going to spend no money with me, then goddamn it, I'm going to burn down what you have. And in his eyes, a valuable black community is as valuable as one spending money with him. If you ain't got the money, there will be no Walgreens and no Whole Foods and no white establishments and no super police service and police protections and police escorts and police neighborhood watch and all that. If you a broke community, they don't give a goddamn. You call the police, they come what? 2 hours late. What makes you valuable to the white man and deserving of any type of human rights or civility is how much money that you are able to spend to support the major corporations in your community. You stop supporting those major corporations in your community, you begin to realize how much black life don't matter if you ain't spending no money in his world. Unless you building your own. So these people talking about we're just going to pull our money out and boycott this. The white man will blow your ass up too for that too. The white man will drop a bomb on your dumb ass. We ain't going to spend no more money with you now. Everybody just take your money out. This is the reality. Let's be honest. You're going to have some problems in your head. That's like slaves saying, look, we ain't going to work no more. You think the white man going to say, well, okay, I guess I'll work the plantation myself, or I'll do what them niggers want. What them niggers want, since, you know, they ain't going to work in the plantation. What he going to do, he going to get some, he going to find his nicest whips. And find his nicest field niggas to come out there and teach your ass a lesson about keeping that plantation running and going. Let's be realistic. So you will not economically escape having to fight this white man and confront the devil, because he's not willing to let his money go. Nobody is willing to part with their money. There's nobody fighting to keep their money and not part with it more than a white man. That's why he stays in power, because he's fighting to stay on top. And you just going to just drop out? You got another thing coming. Everything in this society is compulsory for economic reasons. You have to go to jail because it makes the devil money. You say, well, I ain't going to work for society. I ain't going to do nothing. You ain't got no ID. You ain't got to do nothing. I'm going to put this murder on you. You going to jail and work. We're going to make you work. Now, you going to work out here and be a good nigga for $10 an hour, or we going to lock your ass up for 5 cents an hour? There's a lot of people in jail that took that, hey, I'm going to boycott the system. I ain't going to work. I ain't going to do nothing, right? And the white man found another way for them to work and support the system. The day we say we're not going to support the white man's system, either we ready for warfare or we'll turn into a prison colony overnight. Tell that to your black economists that preach about this economic solution to reality. Some say, you know, the solution going to be education, not all this warfare and militancy. Education is going to save you. But the white man is intimidated by an educated black man. That's a fact. If you pull over, the white man pull you over and you seem like you know something, you're more likely to want to get cracked over your goddamn head. The more laws you know and history you know, the more dangerous you are. The less you can get a goddamn job. You're overqualified. Go to your next interview and really show your boss how much you really know and see if you get fucking hired. The dumb Negro is the only thing that seems to be able to advance in this society, unless you're doing your own thing. That's a reality. So education really ostracizes you and desocializes you to being able to interface within the white corporate world. Because if the more educated you are, the more confident you are in your education, the more they feel like you're about to take over. So the more they box you out, where you're forced to do your own thing, or end up working within that penal institution for 5 cents an hour. That's your economic solution. But anybody who can realize what I just said, they black life matters. If you don't realize that, your black life don't matter. That's a reality. We're going to have to prepare for war and move towards war. And sometimes people think war is having guns and battling the white man head on. No, every day to survive is warfare. And as you perfect your ability to survive with the statistics that are upon you, if you perfect your ability to survive in the battlefield you're on, eventually that process of perfecting your survival will turn you into a superior warrior. And the idea of confronting your enemy will become effortless and will become more reasonable to you the more you perfect yourself by addressing the real battlefield that you're on anyway. Because the war ain't going to start when you get gun training And the war not going to stop because you don't. You're at war. The blacker you are, the more you're at war today in America. That's the reality. You're at war right now. And if you want to take your chances of being out of that statistic, then you're going to take a more militant approach to living every day. That's the reality. Farrakhan, before I open up the lines, because we're in the last 30 minutes of the live stream, called for 10,000 men to come in the midst of the million at the Million Man March anniversary. Clearly, he's only going to try to, as a show of force, to try with this justice or else, which is a threat. And our mama told us, you know, about how dangerous threatening people are if you really ain't going to do shit. So be on the lookout for that. But he's going to have these 10,000 men in the midst of the million, which he'd be lucky if he gets to 10,000 there. But this is going to be a show of force to the white man to say justice or else. And the white man may make a bold statement at that march that niggas ain't shit. And you'll have people that are in the FOI and in the Nation of Islam looking like Martin Luther King's march. I think it was on the Washington Monument, right? His march is going to look dirty, like the dogs getting sucked on them and them getting attacked by the white man. And they ain't going to do nothing, which almost happened at the Million Youth March with Khalid Muhammad. Because really the only effective war that we would fight in America, even if we had 10,000 men, would be guerrilla warfare. You never take, it's not going to be like no old Sparta with 10,000 men where we confront the forces of white supremacy. Today they have drones. They have helicopters and all type of guns and missiles and tanks and all type of technology where if 10,000 men marched in that way, and you're talking about an organization that says no to guns, you know, you're not supposed to have a gun, and Honorable Elijah Muhammad preach against violence and guns and all that, there's no way they're going to win a war. They'll get boxed in D.C. And, you know, they'll get cornered in and destroyed. Even the Arabs in their own home in Iraq, in Syria, the Levant, wherever they're at, even Libya, Afghanistan, they have to use guerrilla warfare in their own home, and they outnumber the devils because of the type of technology and weaponry that the white man is coming with. So if we had 10,000 men that saw that death was sweeter than life, then the only methodology they could use in order to defeat the white man in America would have to be splintered cell guerrilla warfare in America. That would be more effective than marching 10,000 men to their definite death for whatever the valor was of their, you know, or glory of their death. It would be like the movie Glory. It would be that heinous, where they'd be just getting their head blew off. I don't know why it's talking about some 90 seconds. But that's not going to work. It's going to take guerrilla warfare in America. Not 10,000 men marching to their execution. Guerrilla warfare will be the solution. And those who realize that would know that Black Lives Matter.